Well, hello and welcome to Vets Clinic Live at our new time of 6 o'clock in the evening. It's great to be here, isn't it?
It's dark, isn't it?
It's dark outside, but it's full of light here in the studio at Vets Clinic. And we've got a cracking show coming out for you this evening. First thing to mention is it's Heart Awareness Month. Are you aware of this?
Yes, I am.
It's Heart Awareness Month. And we're celebrating that here at Vets Clinic in Swindon with... excuse me, I just... Someone was commenting on you scratching your...
No, I wasn't scratching. I was holding my hand here, and everybody always says it looks like I'm touching myself.
Oh, the best laid plans.
Told not to.
I said, someone behind the camera going... Anyway, back onto the serious matter. It's Heart Awareness Month, and we're doing heart checks here at Vets Clinic in Swindon for just £50 as opposed to £90 in normal price. So,
wow.
And these can detect undiagnosed heart disease with a new blood test called a pro-BNP heart check test. And we're also doing the normal clinical examination. So if you're in the Swindon area and you think you've got an older dog or cat who might be at risk of heart disease, then you can log in and book that in for your animal now. But here on the show, Vets Clinic Live, we've got cracking things coming up. We've got a look at the news stories, including the whole microchipping. Some funny ones. There's a great one about a long cat. Microchipping. We've got Claire, our deputy head nurse, who's going to be talking with you about cat behaviour. So if you've got any questions on cat behaviour, get them into us on Facebook. We've got Jessie from Swindon's Needy Dogs, who is behind us there with Safi, this week's dog, who's going to be coming on a bit later on. And we're going to be talking about teeth. Give us a smile. We're going to talk about teeth later on with our head vet, Adrian Cornter.
Has he got nice teeth?
He's got cracking teeth, yeah.
Cracking
Do you know the best teeth that I've ever seen on anyone?
On a person?
On a person. Donny Osmond.
Really?
Yeah,
but
not wishing to name drop or anything, but I was on the One show, as you are, and he was there with me, and I couldn't take my eyes off his teeth. Amazing teeth.
I had that effect with my moustache.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? So first of all, we've got some competitions, as always, and the first one is our caption competition with the gorgeous Poppet. Here she is again. She gets around, doesn't she, that Poppet? Does. There she is, lovely Poppet. So log on to the Facebook page. There's the picture there of her having a little browse of the dailies. All right. Go on to the tea. Yeah, with the mug of tea. Might not be tea. Might be doggy beer. But log on to the Facebook page and add your caption. And before 6:30, when we finish today, we'll announce our winner. And you win, Joe. You don't win, Joe. You win. What do you win? You win a bag of Vets Kitchen food of your choice for your pet. So great competition as always. So we look forward to your response on that because we always have some cracking.
We like the funnies.
Ones. So get them in on Facebook. Other competitions, we're running a Little Hearts competition, and this is all to do with Little Hearts. Love. It's Valentine's coming up, so we're doing a competition all about loving your cat, and we want pictures of your cat in a cute pose because we're looking for Valentine's for our Little Hearts cats who are called Pink and Blue. So we want a boy cat and a girl cat in a cute pose as potential lovers for our cat. And there's great prizes on offer, and you can enter that at the Vets Clinic Little Hearts Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Little Hearts for Cats. So you can go there and enter that one. And finally, while we're on the competition, on the Vets Kitchen Facebook page, and we've got a competition to win Crufts season tickets. And these are worth an awful lot of money because they're for all 4 days. We've got a pair of these tickets to give away. And there's the details of the competition are up there on Facebook on the Vets Kitchen page. So well worth entering.
So you could go all 4 days, or just one of the 4 days, or two of the 4 days.
Exactly, or your friends could go the other days.
That's
so
incredible.
Lots going on. But as we're on our tight schedule today, we need to move swiftly on to the news stories. So don't forget you can get in touch in the usual way on Facebook if you want to comment. But first news story we've got is on microchipping. And the news today that the government are going to be introducing a compulsory requirement for all dogs to be microchipped by 2016, I think it was. And lots of interesting feedback from people. I mean, what's your take on that, Jez?
I think it's a good idea. I think, compulsory microchipping, if they get lost well, that's pretty much it really, isn't it? If they get lost or stolen, then we know who they are. But I think we just need to keep a bit of a check on it. It's not going to make people more responsible, I don't think. I don't think it's going to, make people have dogs that are less aggressive or, just going to mean they'll get found. I mean,
that's the kind of the gist. We've had lots of feedback on this on Facebook, so thanks for that. And we've had quite a mix, actually. I mean, a lot of people, like Karen, saying a good idea, but how will it be policed? Which is it's all very well making it requirement, but if people don't stick to it, then how is it going to be any good? Laura thinks it's a good idea. Sophie Layton, it's a step in the right direction, but again, how will it be enforced? And we've got some people saying it's a bad idea. I mean, Sarah Bella said, hate the idea. People should have the choice to chip or tattoo, especially as been known to cause cancer. I'm not sure about that one. And it's likely to be unenforced. So you know, Sarah thinks it's a bad idea. So other people are saying, why do you have to wait 3 years, which is a good idea. I mean, you know,
because it's government and they're all incredibly flipping slow.
If you want to get your pet's microchipped here in Vets Clinic, it's only £9.50 if you book online.
£9.50, is that
no
all?
excuse not to get it done.
It's worth travelling.
So that's and that leads us on actually to what happened here last week, because you missed all the excitement.
I know.
We had ITV here, the actual ITV, filming. It was at 5 in the morning. We had to get here and open up for daybreak, and it was all about dog napping, which obviously relates into this whole microchipping thing. So in case you missed it, here is the footage of the interview I did on daybreak on Friday morning. Well, it's an early start this morning here at Vets Clinic. It's just before 6 in the morning. And I'm here because we're doing a feature on dog napping for ITV's Daybreak. Usually I go into the studio to do these things, but today, because I've got to be here operating later on in the day, they've come to us. So they've got a big truck outside with a satellite, and we've got the crew in there in the prep room. And we're getting ready to go live on ITV in about 40 minutes or so. So it's an interesting start to the day.
Vet Joe Inglis joins us live from his surgery in Swindon this morning, along with his dog Jack, who's also very well behaved. Have you noticed an increase, Joe, in the number of dogs going missing, or perhaps the number of dogs being brought into you who aren't with their rightful owner?
We have. I think it's something that's becoming an increasingly big problem, and especially over the last few years when the economic climate is such that I think people are looking for any way to make a fast buck, and I think people see sometimes stealing a dog as an easy way to do that. And dogs are also getting a lot more valuable. The prices that people will pay for pedigree dogs is going up. Working dogs in particular, we're seeing a lot of working dogs being stolen, possibly to order. So it's an increasingly big problem, yes.
You can't really do much to stop them being stolen in the way that Dawn's dog was stolen, I suppose. But what can you do in a way to protect yourself?
Well, there certainly are things that you can do. I mean, vigilance is a great one. You know, if you're out walking your dog, try and train your dog so they don't go out of sight, you know, so you keep them always within sight, or if you can't do that, then use an extendable lead. It's also a good idea to vary your pattern, so don't always walk in the same place, you know, go to different places, different times, so if anyone is trailing you, particularly after your dog, that you make it harder for them. Even in the garden, do things like make sure you've got a decent fence around the garden, try not to leave your dog in the garden where you can't see them, because a lot of dogs are stolen from gardens. And never ever leave your dog in a car. Obviously there's the health risks, but also there's the risk of dogs being stolen from cars. And identify your dog, so make sure they've got a microchip. You can do DNA analysis as well, you can have a swab taken. And it's really important as well to take photos of your dog, because things like microchips, they can be removed. If you've got photos of really identifying features of your dog, and then that can really help if you ever, you know, get the opportunity to get your dog back, and sometimes there are legal battles over is this the right dog, so that can really help as well.
Sound advice, thanks to you.
I tell you, it was a great morning here. I mean, although it was crack of dawn, it was quite exciting to have the whole ITV thing here. They had a big satellite truck outside and everything, so it was good. Jealousy is an unpleasant trait. Let's move on to talk about a man who spent £1,800 building a kennel, which is an exact replica of his own house. This was a competition run, I think, by our friends at More Than Pet Insurance to find the best dog house. And this guy built this house, which is apparently a replica of his house. I think we can get a picture of it. And I looked at it, and you know what, I thought it was a bit naff actually, because if you look at it, it can't be a replica of his house down to scale, because the bricks are the wrong size and the roof tiles are the wrong size.
This is all because you didn't win, isn't it? This is what all this is about.
I spent months building that house and they just disregarded it. I did once build a kennel on wheels on a bicycle. I was going to do this trip around the country on a bicycle made to look like a dog kennel, but I built it in my shed, got out onto the road on the bicycle, realised I couldn't steer the bicycle and gave it up as a bad idea. But we've had some comments again on Facebook about this. I mean, Deborah said, lucky Wellington, pity all dogs don't have owners like that.
Yeah. Dedicated ownership.
Carla has been a bit more cynical here and said, I think he did it to plug his own business, which is creating bespoke kennels. Yes.
So he had a disadvantage then, didn't he, over everybody else? There was some poor old lady made it out of cheese straws and some leftover cream cheese or something and a bit of sticky tape and some lemonade bottles. And he's done it all looking all lovely, and they picked him because he's a professional at it.
Yeah. Not sure what you're trying to say there, but Matthew was, people are materialistic and animals are not. I don't think a dog can differentiate between an £1,800 home and a basket in the corner. I absolutely agree. I think St Bernard's more of a mock Tudor dog anyway, so you're saying he would have preferred a different kind of house. And Simone has summed it up and said, what a waste of money.
It's a lot of money, isn't it?
It's a lot of money, isn't it?
And you said the prize was what, £1,000?
The prize was £1,000, so he's out of pocket.
Out of pocket, yeah.
Okay, so the last one, just very quickly on our news stories, is this one I saw a few minutes ago on the website, on the BBC website, and it's great. And I just saw the headline and thought that can't be right. And it was saying, the world's longest cat dies.
Yeah, it's very sad.
It's amazing how they've measured all of the cats in the world and found this one's the longest.
Yeah, I know.
It is sad, but it's a really long cat, isn't it? Have you seen it?
Did they stretch it a bit? Or is it actually naturally that long?
I don't think it was stretched, I must say.
Right. Yeah, I know. It is very sad that there would be that somebody went along that often, went all around the world and measuring
cats.
And secondly, that actually the longest
one. What do you do for a living?
I measure cats. I'm a cat measurer.
But yeah,
they're not going to be invited back to a party, are they?
No, they're not. Are they?
Weirdo.
So that's it for our news stories. Coming up, we're going to introduce our deputy head nurse here, Claire Bradley, who's got a bit of interesting cats, as have you. So we're going to be talking cat behaviour. But while we're on the subject of cats, we've got a brief film here, just picking up on a couple of cases I saw in the clinic a few days ago, all about cats and two cats sharing a very similar health problem. So we'll watch that, and then we'll be back to talk to Claire and Jez about cat behaviour. This is Susie, and what can we do for her?
She suffers from scabs on her back. We don't know if it's fleas or if she's frontline.
She's frontlined, okay. I mean, this is quite a common problem in cats. I mean, not necessarily this bad, but and the causes of this kind of skin problem can either be down to some kind of allergic reaction, typically to fleas or flea saliva. Yeah. The other thing that can trigger these things off is stress, and that can be really quite hard to deal with because they get what we call miliary eczema, and it affects them around the face, round the back, and it can be really quite an unpleasant condition.
She's a very stressful cat.
Right.
I must admit.
Well, that probably fits in with it. And obviously the best thing to do is if we can reduce her stress. But in a situation like this where she's quite badly affected, I think it would be worth giving her a course of steroids to try and get that skin sorted out. Also some antibiotics because the skin's quite infected. We'll try and make her more comfortable is the priority, I think. So.
Right.
Okay, that's one.
Next job. And until we got Susie, we had no problems with this.
Right, okay, so this one, I mean, this is a very typical, I mean, it's interesting to see two cats in the same household suffering from really the same kind of problems. And this is, again, would fit in with fleas, but there's no evidence of fleas there. It's very typical of stress, this. The difference in this one is that there's no skin infection, so we don't need to give the antibiotics. But you know, really, it's probably going to be the same medication. So. She's obviously been excessively grooming under there as well. So, I mean, it's very typical. What they do when they get stressed, they lick, and they remove the fur like this. So it's quite a typical presentation, and it's. Again, it's not a serious disease, but it means she's unhappy or she's stressed. So I think it was worth thinking about what you can do in the household and whether it's worth trying one of these Fellaway diffusers.
Would it help if it was one pussycat in the house?
Well, I think if this has got worse when you've had two, then I think absolutely taking one cat away might be a solution. But that's one option. And if you want the two cats, then you know we can find another.
Other ways of doing it. All right.
If you want to take a seat with her, we'll see them both in a couple of weeks, and we'll get all your bits and bobs ready for you. Okay, thanks. Bye bye. An interesting case actually. So the owners there had two cats with very similar problems, all I think coming from stress. They're both chewing their back end. One of them, the first cat, was more seriously affected with lots of infection in there, but both clear examples of cats that are stressed and licking and over grooming themselves. So we're going to give them some medication to try and break that cycle, stop them licking and scratching, but really they need to sort out the source of the stress, and that's hopefully where the pheromone diffuser will come in. Worst case scenario is that they have to separate the two cats.
Well, that was certainly an interesting couple of cases. And before we get on to talk about cats, we've just got a few of your captions coming through on various of our Facebook pages. So on the Vet's Kitchen page, we've got a few great comments coming through. Andrea said, how to spend a Sunday morning, absolutely. Marie said, think I will ask my vet if I can have one done. I think obviously a heart check. Nicola's saying, can't believe they chose that dog over me. And by the way, my coffee mug is empty. And Bev said, blimey, you have to read this. So we've got some other comments on our Little Heart Facebook page. So Kia has said, Max was just dying to know where that dog got his collar from. And then we've got on the Klinic page, we've got quite a few. We've got Katie saying he's always in the paper, never me, lucky boy. I think there's quite a lot of, there's a theme here of jealousy, isn't there?
Isn't there?
Sharon's
not jealous.
Is she not? She's a bit jealous of Jack, I tell you. Jack's such a much better looking dog. No one said anything about giving up coffee. I'll exercise, but don't touch the coffee cup. Yeah, some great ones. So keep them coming through, and we'll announce them at the end of the show. But without further ado, introduce Claire Bradley, who's our deputy head nurse here at Vet's Clinic. And Claire, you've got a particular interest in cats, and in cat behaviour in particular, and that's from your background.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's first owning a cat called Thomas, who was particularly sort of worried and quite a stressy cat. So it was sort of, motivated me to learn more about behaviour and such like. So I went on a diploma course, and then I topped it up to a master's degree.
And that was also from where you worked before you came to Vet's Clinic, wasn't it?
Yeah, as well. Yeah, because I worked at Oxford Cat Clinic, which just deals solely with cats. And obviously, as part of my diploma, I had to see further cases. So obviously, it was a good place for me to go and for them to use my experience and for me to get more cases in. And
what sort of cases do you tend to see in cats? Because we think of behaviour as being, I suppose, a canine problem, the aggressive dog or whatever, but there's a big problem in cats as well, isn't it?
I think cats tend to hide away, so you see the problem less, but it's not that it's not there, it's just because you can't actually detect it because they're just sort of they're hiding themselves away. And
what sort of things?
And then more things like sort of inappropriate urination, defecation, that comes up a lot. Aggressive behaviours both towards other cats in their environment, but as well as to people as well. And I think some people, that's when you hear about the problem, is that when people are getting scratched and bitten, then they come forth and tell you, and that's when you sort of
covered in bandages.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we've got a few behavioural problems for you two to tackle. So put your joint thinking caps on. So the first one we've got from Caroline Murphy. So thanks, Caroline, for the question. Who says, we have one difficult cat who decides to toilet, mainly poo, in different places and not his litter tray. They've got plenty of litter trays. They've got 4 cats who are all settled together. But this one just keeps going places where he shouldn't. We've picked him up and put him back in the litter tray to remind him, but no luck. They're house cats as we live on a main road. Any tips?
Well, because he's pooping, I would go more the house soiling problem rather than the marking problem. Agreed? Yeah. When you say you've got enough litter trays, the golden rule to remember always, isn't it, is that you need one per cat plus one more. Yeah. And they need to be on every level of your house. So if you live in a bungalow, you're fine. So they need to be spread out. Yeah. So if you've got 7 cats, then you need 8 litter trays, all in different places.
As I guess also you need to clean them regularly, don't you?
Yeah, at least once a day. And cats have really strong substrate preferences. Yes. They like more sandy, so the finer sort of scoopable litter.
Yeah. And also sort of pushing especially when they're defecating, they push more with their back feet. So obviously if it's quite hard litter, they're not going to like it as much because they're pushing down.
So we have to really pamper to our cat's toilet preferences.
Oh crikey, they're so special.
And my cat uses nothing but 4-ply, this when he's on the loo.
And then what you can do, just crisis management, when you clear up the poop, make sure you really do scrub it up. You need a good enzymatic odour
biological
removing
washing powder.
Oh, is that the good one? Is it? I didn't know that. There you go. This is why she's here.
Washing powder.
She's known as Catwoman.
So you've talked about making sure that they can go to the toilet somewhere appropriate, and is that really the hub of this? Is there anything else that can be done to
potentially? I mean, you could put food where they've been defecating, because they don't generally like to eliminate where there's food, so you can, that will help determine whether maybe it's a medical problem. But if it's the picking up and putting to his litter tray, it's probably worth making a point. It will do nothing. There's just no point. They don't learn like that. No. So I wouldn't bother with that. But there's tips. In fact, we've got a cat PDF that we can put on the Facebook page to give you some more tips on that. But it generally is.
Okay. Well, let's try and whip through as many of these as we can in the time we've got left. So Kate, our friend Kate, who was here on the show last week, they said, how do I stop my cat Pearl from clawing my new sofa? I had foil on it for a few months, and that stopped her mostly. I've removed it and now she's doing it again. I don't want to shut her out of the room because then she'll fight with Big Dave, who's another cat, by the way.
So should we do 2 each?
Yeah.
All right. So my 2, I might steal the best one. Sorry. My 2 are make sure that they've got a scratching post, and the scratching post needs to be tall. It needs to be taller than the cat is when they're stretched out, because they like to real stretch and scratch like that. And if the scratching post is diddy, they can't do it.
For the cat we saw earlier, the longest cat in the world, it has to be like a 6 foot high.
The world's largest scratching post as well.
Okay, that's one.
And the other thing is to try sticky back plastic on the edge of the sofa where they're scratching, because it's sticky, and again, they don't like it. Very strong preferences. Right. I did that one intentionally to leave you with a couple of more normal
ones. Would suggest moving the scratching post nearest to the sofa, because obviously they're scratching, to try and mark that area. So that's a good idea to put that there. And I think. Can't think of any others.
Those are very good ones, I have to say.
Let's move on to the final question. I've just got time to sneak this one in. Nadina said, I've got a 15-year-old cat, Toffee, who seems very good for her age, but in the last few months she howls and cries if she wakes up in a room on her own. Could she be going senile?
Short answer is yes, I guess. There are a number of different things. It could be an attention-seeking disorder. So because you've responded to the howling, she wakes up and thinks, oh, where are they? Meow, meow, meow. Oh, yeah, that gets her. That's good. But it could be senility, couldn't it?
Yeah, and cognitive dysfunction as well, where the memory just
anything we can do about those, or anything that that she can do?
Pop along to your vet because there are a number of different medicines that will help her throughout her elder years, and make sure that she's got plenty still to play with. People tend to think that they retire cats really early. Absolutely. Lots of play, lots of games with food.
Lovely. Well, thank you ever so much.
That's why she's Catwoman.
Thank you very much, Claire. I'm sure we'll have you back on. So if you've got more questions for Claire Catwoman, as she is now known, then get in touch. Just before we move on, just a few more captions coming through. Stuart's gone, look at the stethoscope on that. Woof, woof. Kelly said, I recently went to the vet. Vet's awesome people, but albeit a bit slow on the refills on tea, absolutely. Jenny said, I suppose I'd better book in for a heart check. Gives the vet a reason to moan about my caffeine intake. Very good. Keep them coming. Good. Next up on the sofa, we've got Jessie and Safi, who seem to have disappeared somewhere. So we're going to be talking about Safi, the latest dog who needs a home from Swindon's Needy Dogs. But first of all, we've got a short video about Safi with Jessie in. So thank you very much to you guys. We'll see you both next week.
She's probably a collie cross German Shepherd or something similar. She's nice and black and shiny with a semi-long coated fur. She was handed in to us because the owners could no longer care for her due to a medical condition. So now she's gone into foster care with Chris and her partner Lee here.
She's so loving. She's getting her recall, she's sitting, she's giving her paw, she's laying now. She does a little trick like a little twirl like the other two. And when we got her, she actually did nothing. So we're getting somewhere, but with the 3 dogs, it's a bit difficult to have one-to-one with her. So everything is taking twice as long. Very, very food orientated. So she will be a really, really good learner.
Yeah, she'd suit somebody who wants to train a dog up.
Yeah, and I think she'd probably be better on her own, because then she would get all the one-on-one attention and all the attention, which is really what she wants. Because she is just so loving. I mean, she'll get hold of my hand with her mouth. She won't close her mouth, but she'll get hold of my hand and put it on her where she wants me to stroke her.
Oh, she wants us to be loved, isn't it?
She just wants a lot of loving, yeah.
Well, that was a taster for Safi, and I'm very pleased to say we've got Safi here in the studio along with Jessie from Swindon's Needy Dogs. And Chris, you've been looking after Safi. So tell us a bit about her. I mean, we saw in that video she's quite an energetic dog, but she's been pretty easy to look after?
Yeah, she's very energetic.
Yeah.
She's learning well. She's very intelligent. I mean, when we first we've had her just under 3 weeks now. And she didn't sit. Now she'll sit, lay, give her paw. We've just been sitting back there trying to teach her to speak. She won't have none of that.
And have you got other dogs at home?
Yeah, I've got a Springer.
And they get on all right? Is she?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So she's going to be fine with other dogs. Children?
Yeah.
Is she? Do you think the small
well, actually,
children?
she met a couple of children on Monday. Was it? Yeah, Monday. A 6-year-old and a 10-year-old, and she loved them. Absolutely loved them.
Cool. So Jessie, do you think she's going to be quite easy to rehome? I mean, it sounds like she's got quite a good tick list of positives there.
Apart from the whole black dog thing, because as we know, black dogs for some reason aren't at home. But yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that black dogs are gorgeous.
I mean, it's a very racist attitude.
Anybody who has a black suit or a little black dress, you know, he's not going to have any problems with hers, are you? You know.
Oh, she's lovely.
She matches everything.
Yeah, exactly. So I think she'd be really rehomeable. I mean, she's come from a home with small pets and children. She's gone into a foster home. They also have a rather boisterous staffy come and play with her as well. Yeah, and she loves it.
And why was she rehomed? Just circumstances?
The lady was unable to keep her due to her medical condition.
Right. So brilliant. So if anyone fancy giving Safi a home, then get in touch in the usual way. swindonsneedydogs@gmail.com.
Nice one.
Yeah, I've remembered it. So it'd be really great to get Safi home, because she's obviously a lovely dog.
Yes, definitely.
I guess you can't look after a long term.
Well, we could, but we've got the
other
two.
You
can't. I can't have my foster homes adopting.
No, otherwise I guess. So do you look at you foster dogs as they come through?
Safi's my third foster.
Right. Well, look what happened to Poppet. She was fostered, and she's still with Maria. So
Domino was fostered by these people as well.
Right.
Because Domino had
Lucy, but I don't know if you met Lucy.
Didn't meet Lucy, so yeah.
Right, brilliant. Well, thank you ever so much. And coming up for the end of the show, we've got our head vet, Adrian Cornter, who's going to be here talking about how to keep your pet's smile looking nice and white and healthy. So don't go away. We'll be back in a couple of seconds. Well, our thanks to Safi and Jessie and Chris, and very pleased to welcome Adrian along.
Hello.
Adrian, how's it going?
Good evening, yeah.
Busy couple of weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, been really busy actually,
Been hard worked, which is good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we like you to earn your keep. So we're going to talk for the last bit of the show about dentistry, about looking after pets' teeth, and it is a really big deal these days, isn't it? I mean, we do quite a lot of dentals here. I did one the other week that was, the dog had really gruesome teeth. And it was such a rewarding thing to do in many ways, isn't it? You clean them up, take the teeth out, and make such a difference.
It's rewarding for us, but it's rewarding for the pets and the owner as well. I mean, it's difficult to overestimate how important dental disease is. I mean, it's something that perhaps we as vets are guilty of, but owners as well. Generally speaking, I don't know how many times you've seen it, but over my career, very rarely have I seen an animal brought in with dental disease because they've stopped eating.
Yeah, even sometimes cats in particular, you'll get them with rotten old teeth.
Horrible.
And they're still eating, aren't they?
Yeah, and I don't think there's nothing wrong with the animal. They're absolutely fine, and there's nothing that needs doing. And that's not to say that once you've done it, they don't report, oh, actually, he seems much happier now. Animals are really good at coping with bad teeth and not showing you any symptoms. They still eat fine, they still seem fine, but not only with those teeth maybe causing them a problem in terms of pain, but if bacteria are crossing over into the bloodstream, that bacteria in the bloodstream can cause all sorts of damage. I mean, classically speaking, we'll be talking kidney disease in cats. A lot of old cats get kidney disease. This could be why, because they're getting a lot of bacteria going over.
There's a real body of evidence then to suggest that's a real causal link.
Seeding out into the kidneys, and in dogs we can get heart disease. Older dogs can get heart disease because of bacteria seeding in the heart.
So it's obviously a big problem there. So what can we do about it? I mean, I guess there's vigilance on an owner's point of view.
Yes.
There's checking, having the treatments here, and then sort of prevention, things like brushing and.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of keeping your dog's or cat's teeth clean, you can brush the teeth, you can put additives in the water, you can feed them dental treats. There's evidence that shows that dogs fed on bones, although there's downsides in terms of you can get foreign body obstruction if you swallow them. Those dogs tend to have very clean teeth.
I mean, I suppose hard foods as well as opposed to eating tin food have
dental benefits. If you look at your cat or dog's teeth though and there's a build-up on the teeth, then you're not really going to get that off with anything you can do at home. The only way that's going to come off is in a veterinary clinic under anaesthetic where they're being cleaned up and polished, and at that point you can try and keep them under control. But if they've got a build-up on there, you're going to struggle to get that off. And really what you want to do, check your dog's mouth out, check your cat's mouth out. If there's a bit of build-up on there, that can be normal. If there's a lot of build-up, that's more of a problem. But really what I look for in the gums of these animals is there a little red line on the gum? Is the gum that's next to the tooth reacting? Has it gone slightly red? And if that's the case, you've got bacteria that are crossing over from the tooth into the blood system, and you need something done about that.
And just a very quick final note, we talked about cats and dogs, rabbits.
Yeah, I mean rabbits and guinea pigs and hamsters, we see a lot of dental disease in those, especially rabbits. The trouble is that their teeth grow continuously, and you can get misalignment at the front, but more importantly misalignment at the back.
And in those species we do tend to see going off the food as presenting symptoms.
Yeah, because they're at the back, you don't notice it, they tend to grow and grow and grow, and then they're poking into the gum, they're causing ulcers in the tongue, really nasty ones, and they go completely off their food, and without corrective surgery those animals aren't going to get better. But with those, again, prevention is really the key, because once they get to the stage where you're having to trim them, generally you end up doing it monthly, as much.
And prevention is down to diet, really.
Down to the diet, it's all about making sure they feel, hey, I mean, these pellet-based foods or muesli-based foods, they're okay, but they really don't need very much of them. I mean, you're talking like a teaspoon, maybe slightly more per kilo, so not a lot a day, and the rest should all be grass and hay, fibre that brines those teeth down. Yeah.
Lovely. Well, thank you so much, Adrian.
No problem.
Just before we go, then we're just time to announce our competition winners. And also just to mention, have a quick look at some of those. And while Adrian has a quick look at some of those, that we've been running our Little Hearts competition. This was a survey that we did, and we said that 20 people are going to win a bag of Little Hearts. So for those of you who entered our Little Hearts survey, those winners are now up on the Little Hearts Facebook page, so you can go there and see if you've won your cat a bag of our Little Hearts. And just to let you know, hot off the press, the new variety that we've chosen for Little Hearts is going to be game flavoured. So it's with rabbit, venison and duck, and that's going to hopefully be in the stores later on in the year. So who's going to be the winner then? My favourite was... You got a favourite?
I quite like the ones that are caffeine or cuppa based. I don't know. Which one did you like?
I quite liked Stuart's look at the stethoscope on that.
I thought you might do, yeah.
But, and we've got some on the Vet's Kitchen page as well. Doctor said, how come I don't get a doggy vet? And we've got Claire saying, great news, microchipping is being compulsory. I'm ahead of the game. I like Lola's. Would they mind if I peed on page 6? That's a good one. Little Hearts, we've got Sharon saying, I see models are getting younger and younger these days. You choose. It's your turn to choose. You can choose.
Okay.
Blame Adrian.
I'm going to go with the one about... give me a reason to moan about my caffeine intake. Okay. That one from Jenny Knight.
Give me a reason. So Jenny Knight has said... Oh, I suppose I better book a heart check. It's gone. It's gone. What have you done with it?
Give the reason to moan about my caffeine intake is what it was.
Okay, so thank you ever so much for all of those. We'll have another competition next week, but Jenny, you're going to get a bag of Vet's Kitchen food coming through to you. Next week, we've got a cracking show. It's all about guinea pigs. We've got the president of the local cavey association. Wow. When I first heard it, I thought, why are we doing something on caving? But it's cavies, which is what guinea pigs are.
Can we combine the two?
We could do underground, yeah. Anyway, we're out of time. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show at its new time. We'll be back next week, 6 o'clock on Wednesday with Vet's Clinic Live. So thanks very much to Adrian and to Jez, and we'll see you next week.